N3 Maths. So what we were dealing with on Saturday is the April 2019 paper. This is the latest exam paper. The questions, certain questions are quite, they're quite challenging compared to past exam papers. So what we have done is I videoed the first half, first half of the, it wasn't the half, or maybe first quarter of the paper. Right, so now what I'm doing is I'm just borrowing your lecturer's period so I can complete the second half and then I'll upload it onto YouTube. Okay. Right, so we continue with this one. The question is, make R the subject of the formula. Okay. So let's see what we can do here. So if you look now, how many R's do you have? Yeah. You have an R in the numerator and R in the denominator also. Okay. So now, if there's more than one R, what we need to do is we need to get the equation in a form where we can take out R as a common factor, since there's more than one R. You cannot cancel anything here. Why? It's because there's a plus sign separating terms here. Can you see that? If there's a plus sign or a minus sign, you cannot cancel. So what we need to do is, let's get rid of the fraction. Let's cross multiply. Okay. So I got R. Now, what does this mean? RMN. Okay. Here, there's no plus sign, there's no minus sign, there's no division sign. So therefore, this is multiplication. Okay. So it means R times M times N there is equal to, if I cross multiply, it's going to be 1 times R times E here plus M times A. Okay. So now I don't have to write down the 1 there, because anything multiplied by 1 is equal to itself. Alright, so now what am I looking for? What is my aim here? The aim here is to get the terms with R on one side. So therefore, we can take out a common factor. Alright, so now I got my R times M times N minus R times A is equal to N times A. So you can see nothing too difficult here. So now I got both terms with R on one side. I can take out R as a common factor. So if I take out R, I'm left with Mn minus E is equal to Ma. Well, this one was an easy one compared to the other ones that we did. Alright, so all I have to do now is divide. So R is equal to Ma all divided by Mn minus E. How many marks was this one here? Let's see. Well, this one was 3 marks. It was not bad. But what you need to remember is, in a situation where there's more than one, you're looking for a variable, it appears more than once in an equation. You need to try and get all the terms with the same variable on one side. You can see that. Right, so that was this one. I'm moving on. Okay. So the next one is solve for x by completing the square. They gave you 5 marks here for this one. Let's see why. You normally don't get so many marks, but anyway, this one they gave you 5 marks. Let's see why you're getting 5 marks. Well, I can see why now, because you're going to end up with fractions here. Okay, so right, so solve for x by completing the square. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to make my equation equal to 0. So if I've got ax squared plus bx plus c, I like to make it equal to 0. You don't have to make it equal to 0. You can keep your constant on the right hand side like it's done in your book. Okay, but there's a reason why I'm doing it this way now. It's because when you come to higher levels, when we're dealing with calculus, then you need to complete the square the way I'm showing it to you now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is make the equation equal to 0. So that's 4x squared minus 4x minus 1 equals to 0. Okay, I'll explain the difference, but the way that it's done in the N3 book. So now, when you are completing the square, step number 1 is to make the coefficient of x squared, this value here, this a value, must be a positive 1. Okay, that is step number 1. So clearly, it is not positive 1 here, it is 4. So what do I do in order to make this 1? I can divide, exactly. So I'll divide, this is an equation. Okay, so in an equation, whatever you do on the left hand side, you have to do on the right hand side. So therefore, I'm going to divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. I'll divide every single term on the left hand side and every single term on the right hand side. So whatever I do here, I do there. So I divide it by 4. So now I have x squared. So I have my 1x squared. This is the one that I want now. You can see that? My positive 1, here's my 1 here. Minus 4 over 4, that's going to be 1x. And there's the fraction now, which is minus 1 over 4 equals to 0 divided by any real number is 0. Okay. Now, what do we do next? Okay. So this is the method. First step is simple. Make sure the coefficient of x squared is positive 1. Now, your equation must be in order ax squared plus bx. This constant, I'm leaving it on the left, but in the textbook they take it to the right, so it doesn't really make any difference, you will see now. The main thing is these two terms must be next to each other. Now, what you will do is, you will copy down term 1 and term 2 as it is. So that is x squared minus x. Okay, then you will write down plus half the coefficient of x squared minus half the coefficient of x squared, and then you can copy down this term here, which is minus 1 over 4 equals to 0. But in the N3 textbook, they keep the constant on the right and they keep this part on the right. Okay, nothing major, there's no major difference there. But this is a way that you will need to use in the future. Okay, so as I said, you will always write down a plus first, minus second. It doesn't work any other way. Always plus first, minus second. So what goes inside here? Okay, it's half the coefficient of x. Now be careful. This is x squared. The coefficient of x squared is 1. We are not talking about x squared. We are talking about x here. So the coefficient of x here is minus 1. There's your minus 1. So what am I saying? Half the coefficient of x. So if that's minus 1, all you are doing is taking minus 1 and dividing by 2. It's the same thing as 1 over 2 times minus 1. Can you see that? So half the coefficient of x, so that's minus 1 over 2. Whatever you write down here, you will copy it down there. So that is minus 1 over 2. Now, what's going to happen next is the first three terms will be of the form, always. It's going to be of the form, let me just write it down as a plus b all squared, which is the same as a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So what we have there, term 1, term 2 and term 3 is this part here, is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So when you factorize it, it's going to become a plus b. Or if you're looking at it as a minus b all squared, so that's going to be a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So to be more specific now, this is the one that we have because of the minus sign. Can you see that? So that is completing the square. We're going to go from here to here. So now, you don't have to go and think about it. It's always, you always put a bracket here and a square there. So what you copy down here, if this is an x squared, you will write down an x. Okay, if it was y squared, you will write down y. If it was k squared, you will write down k. And what goes here is the same number, is the same half the coefficient of x that you copied down here, which is minus half. Okay, so now what just happened? We have went from a trinomial here and we factorized it. a minus b all squared. So now, what about these two terms here? These two terms, you work it out and take it to the other side. Okay. So now, but let's work this out. We got minus 1 over 2 squared, that's going to be 1 over 4 minus 1 over 4 is equal to 0. Okay. So I got x minus 1 over 2 squared. Minus 1 over 4 is minus 2 over 4, which is the same as minus 1 over 2. You're clear with that? Equal to 0. Right, so now we want to solve for x here. This is completing the square, but you want to solve for x. So what we want to do is keep this term on the left-hand side, keep it alone on the left. So that's going to be x minus 1 over 2 all squared is equal to, if I take minus 1 over 2 to the right, it's going to be 1 over 2. Okay, so now, I need to solve for x, but the problem is I have a square here. Can you see that? So if I want to get rid of the square, what do? I'm going to find the square root of both sides. Okay. So I'm going to find the square root of both sides. Now when you find the square root, remember there's two possibilities, plus or minus there. They did not say without a calculator, yeah? I don't see it. It just says solve for x by completing the squares. I'm not sure why it's 5 marks, but anyway. So the square root and the square there, so that will be x minus 1 over 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 all over the square root of 2. I'm just going to do it without a calculator as far as possible. Okay, just in case there is a question that states solve without a calculator, and then we will use a calculator for our final answer. So what happened here? I found the square root of the numerator, square root of the denominator. The square root of 1 is 1, the square root of 2 is the square root of 2 without a calculator. So here, if I take this to the right, x is equal to 1 over 2 plus or minus 1 over root 2. So what does this mean now? It means that x is equal to 1 over 2 plus 1 over root 2, or x is equal to 1 over 2 minus 1 over root 2. Alright, so that's as far we can rationalize the denominator, but we're not interested in all that. Let's just work out the final answer, round it up to 3 decimal places there. Give me the answer there quickly. So let's work this out. 1 over 2 plus 1 over root 2, what do we get there? 1 comma? 217. 207. That's 207. And this one? Negative 0, 207. Okay. So, how do we know if this answer is correct? You will take it, substitute into the original equation, check if the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. But now this one you can check what happens if they gave you in terms of A, B, and C. Okay, then what you can also do is use the quadratic formula. Okay, to check. Okay, you can use the quadratic formula, so let's just do that quickly. So x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So if I'm using the quadratic formula, then my a is 4, my b is minus, I'm looking at the original equation now, not the one that I divided, you understand that? So my a is 4, b is minus 4, c is minus 1. So let's just write that down. My a is 4, b is 4, b is minus 4 and c is minus 1. So therefore I got minus b, which is minus 4, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so that's minus 4 squared minus 4 times a, which is 4 C, which is minus 1, all divided by 2 times A there, which is 4. So let's work this out now. So negative times negative, that's a positive 4, plus or minus the square root of 4 squared is 16. Okay, and then 4 times 4 again is 16, negative times negative is positive. So 16 plus 16 will give us 32, all over 2 times 4, which is 8. Okay. So I know 32 is the same as 16 times 2. All divided by 8. So I'm just doing it without a calculator as far as possible, just to show you, just in case a question like that comes up. So what I did was, 32 is 16 times 2. Why am I writing it as 16 times 2? Because 16 is a perfect square. So the square root of 16 is what? Remember, I'm going the square root of 16 times 2. That means the square root of 16 times the square root of 2. The square root of 16 is 4 times root 2, all divided by 8 there. So now I can simplify this further, and this can be written as 4 over 8 plus or minus 4 root 2 over 8. Okay, so 4 over 8 is the same as 1 over 2, 4 over 8 again. That's going to be root 2 over 2. Now this, it looks different. Where is our final answer? Why? Because here we have a rationalized denominator. But if you do this on a calculator, let's see what we get. Put the 1 over 2 plus root 2 over 2. Do we get the same answer? Yes, we get the same answer. It's just that here there is no root in the denominator. Okay, here your root is in the denominator. Calculate the value of P and Q if M is the midpoint of line segment AB. So here is line segment AB. Right, so we are told that M is the midpoint. Okay, so now what we need to do is find the value of P and Q. So basically we just need to apply the midpoint formula, straightforward. So your midpoint, let's call it xy. Right. So to find the x value of the midpoint, okay, it's going to equal to x1 plus x2 over 2. And to find the y value of the midpoint, it's going to be y1 plus y2 over 2. Okay. So in this case, let's be specific. To find the midpoint there, it's going to be xa plus xb over 2. And it's going to be the y value at point A plus the y value at point B divided by 2. That is the midpoint formula. Okay, so now, what is x? What is this x value? I thought you said I must skip this, it was easy. Doesn't look like it's easy. This value here is the x value of the midpoint, which is minus 7 over 2. So there's my minus 7 over 2 is equal to, what's the x value at point A? It's q. Plus the x value at point B is minus 8. All divided by 2. Let's deal with this one. So the y value at the midpoint here is, the y value here is P. So that is P is equal to, the y value at A is Q plus the y value at point B is minus 1, all divided by 2. You're clear with that? Okay. So, yeah, that's Q, that's P there. There's your P here, which is the y value is equal to that plus that. Alright, y value at A is Oh, sorry, my mistake there. The y value at A was 3. Sorry, I was looking at that's 3. Right, so now, let's deal with this one. So now we just have a simple equation here, where we need to solve for Q. So I got 2 on the left and 2 on the right. I'm just going to do this quickly. If I multiply by 2 on both sides, what will happen here? 2 and 2 will cancel, so therefore, minus 7 is equal to Q minus 8. So therefore, minus 7 plus 8 is equal to Q. So Q is equal to 1. Alright. So here P is equal to 3 minus 1, which is 2 over 2, which is equal to 1. Check, does it work? Okay, make sure you check this. Right, so what is, let's see, our x value here is minus 8. Q, what did we work out Q to be? 1. Okay, so minus 8 plus 1 is minus 7 divided by 2. So we got our minus 7 over 2. Right, so here, minus 1 plus 3, which is 2, divided by 2, this must be a 1. And we got it. This was an easy one, but you needed to write out your equations first. Okay, you write out your equations properly, and you won't have a problem. So that was that.